Hey all you petrol heads, this is Willscom82 and today I'm bringing you the recap from the third show race of the season in Danish Racing League. And today I have taken a name change. I will be known henceforth as Brian O'Connor in the Supra RZ. But we get a catastrophic launch because I fiddled with the traction control and it did not work out for me because I didn't think that the car was fast enough to actually pull any kind of spin, but it did. And we go a bit too hot into the first left-hander, which means that we plow into Flying Jake, which gets him a penalty because I make contact with him, and Pyrrhus knocks into me, which gives me a 2-second penalty. So, yay, penalty system. You got it right. And this is one of the classic races where me and Flying Jake in his Nissan Skyline are gonna fight each other and have a couple of great duels. And as for the penalty we acquired earlier on, we're just gonna take it off little by little throughout Laguna Seca, because you don't need to take it in one sitting. In fact, that would be silly. Unless, of course, you have like 10 seconds, then it might be a good idea to just grab a good chunk out of it. But we're up into 5th, but in this race, whenever something good happens, something shitty happens. Look at that fuck up, but a fuck up with some massive style points. We have moved on a bit, and now I have caught up to Greedy Mac. And here we get into a duel where Greedy Mac shows me that he really enjoys shutting that door and maybe doing it a bit too late. And for once, through the first right-hander, I actually managed to get quite a good exit speed. Greedy Mac sees it and commences to shut the door in my face, but didn't do it in time, which meant that he gets penalized for driving into me, because I actually did have a pretty clear inner line here. I have the speed, I have the position. So, 1 sec penalty, I think in this case, it was warranted, and lucky for us, he was actually ghosted there, because otherwise that would have been a complete disaster for both of us. We'll move up a bit late in the race, and now let's get on with that duel with Flying Jake. And first left corner, oh, he goes very wide, and I see it, but my line was not very delicate there, which meant that we did have some grinding contact, which was not intentional. I actually thought I could keep it within a line and go around him, but not this instant. But this is going to be a good little fight for the remainder of the lap. Coming into the corkscrew, Flying Jake did manage to slip a bit ahead though. But I was not about to give up. But what is that? Is that Leon, aka Havoc? Let's have a look at what happened to Havoc. That is a sweet ass ride with that livery, I gotta say. Just good memories from the first Fast and Furious movie. Mm-mm-mm. Comes through the corkscrew and oh no, he gets airtime. Damn, that is unlucky and nothing he could have done there. And thankfully he backs away from the track and we get cleanly by. Coming out of the left-hander onto the straight, we are right where we want to be, deeply inside the slipstream of Flying Jake. And maybe we can pull off some Brian O'Connor magic down in the first left-hander. And Flying Jake goes wide again. And this time though, my friends, that was just like Thai Airways, smooth as silk. But wait for it, because something good happened, so of course something awful must happen. And this time, not with as much of the style points. No, this was très awkward. God damn! Losing a third place due to this. And to be honest, after that, I stayed in fifth the rest of the race, so nothing much to show really. So let's get up in front of the race. Iron Dog makes a great start, and to be honest, he was really untouchable in this race up in front. The bad thing though, he chose the wrong car, which meant that he was disqualified even though he was way too awesome for this track and that car. Well, if we discount that one misbehavior there. And we have Bombas in second, Recreo in third, and the Fast Devil in fourth. But Fast Devil is looking to change that. Going into the inner line and making it stick. Really nicely done. And here we are, coming down towards the corkscrew for the first time in this race with the leading pack. Can they get through safely, all of them? Nope. The Fast Devil has a awful first corkscrew, which actually meant that at this point I was up into fifth. And here we have Havoc just sliding into third. Brompa is still in second, and the Iron Dog in first. And coming onto the straight, after first lap completed, let's have a look down through the field. Havoc in third, Recre fourth, Fast Devil fifth, Flying Jake in sixth, Greedy Mag in seventh, and me, Brian O'Connor, in eighth. Knet in ninth, and Pius miscalculating on the first lap here in 10th, and Highway Hall in 11th. In Highway Hall's defense, it would appear that he had some very nasty issues with his steering wheel. I think it kind of broke during the endurance race, so he was not on par with his usual fast self. But let's get into this fight, because we have another classic fight on our hands. Recreo and Havoc. Skyline versus Supra. And the first corner here, Recreo wins out, but he loses a lot of momentum due to that power slide. That of course meant that Havoc was in a prime condition to get back in front of Recreo. And I must say, just looking through these replays of the show races, I must give a big kudos to the guys on top of Danish Racing League, because these choices for show race cars are freaking amazing so far. And next week is also spot on. A little spoiler, we did quite well. But let's get back to the fight. Havoc also has a bit of hang time here. Not much though, but he did cut the corner a bit because of the hang time, which meant that he now have a half-second penalty, which he does choose to just get rid of right off the bat. And in this case, it was actually a pretty slick tactic, because he could get straight out into Recreo's slipstream down the straight. Very, very nicely done. But at this point in the race, somehow, for some reason, Brumbaz left the building. I don't know if he feels like he needs that extra challenge of not finishing in top when we do the show races, but that was a bit weird. Here we go. This is where it happens, because we're back on board with Recreo, and that was the accident with Havoc. And after Recreo got up into second, not much happened in the front of the race really. So let's get on to the final result. Iron Dog in first, Recreo in second, and of course remember that everybody gets bumped up a spot because Iron Dog was using a wrong vehicle, so he was disqualified and did not get his 5 points for winning the race. Flying Jake in third, Fast Devil in fourth. In fifth, we have Brian O'Connor. Really slick wheels, man. And Leon in sixth, or Havoc. And Pyrrhus comes in at 7, Highway Hall, with all his issues, in 8th. And Knet in 9th. And of course, Brumbaz was in the pits If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and maybe even subscribe for more Gran Turismo Sport.